Hi again, friends. It's Sharon from Mad Paper Crush here. Today I'm doing a plan with me because I can't believe we're already to the end of May and June is coming up. So I'm taking my sort of handmade junk journal style planner that I like to use kind of in a bullet journal style. And we'll be doing some getting ready for June. So I want to do a monthly overview page and I want to do a habit tracker, which I don't normally do. So that'll be something new for me and I'll have to see if that works for me. And then also another gratitude page. Things have been pretty heavy in our world lately, and to be very honest, I'm struggling. And so I want to be very deliberate about being thankful for things and making sure I remember the things in my immediate life that I'm grateful for. When there is so much darkness out there, it's nice to be able to look back and see those things that help me remember how blessed I am in my life. So I hope you'll join me today as we dig into getting June set up and ready to go. And let's go ahead and get started. Okay, I'm going to start with my monthly overview page. And normally my monthly overview, I kind of do in a traditional bullet journal style, just, the days of the week and the numbers of each day, down in a straight line. And that's kind of how I do my monthly overview. So I thought for June, I would try something a little bit different. And as you can see, I've already kind of marked off some squares on my pages here. And I have 7, going across on either side here. And I decided to use my watercolors from Artistro. And this is my little sample sheet here with each of the colors on it. So I'm using this just to kind of make sure I'm, using the colors that I want to use. And I thought I would do kind of a monotone blue. So there's a bunch of blues in here, and I thought I would use those. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from the darkest, which is close to this. Well, actually, it's maybe not even the darkest. Just I'm going to start from this side and work my way down. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blues up here. And then I have this fluorescent blue down here that I think I'll add as my 7th. So each row that's a full week, I should say, will have 7 colors on it. And I'm going to start with my phthalo blue here, then go ultramarine, brilliant blue, turquoise, cobalt blue, lake blue, and this fluorescent blue as the last one over here. So it'll all be kind of matching, but obviously, I won't start until like going down the rows, they'll all be the same, but then going across, it'll be, the variety there. All right, and it's always a good idea to check your calendar, because I realized as I was trying to mark off all of my month boxes here, and these are just to make sure I don't go over. I really don't want this to be as straight and lined up as these boxes are. This is just to kind of keep me on in the general area where I want to be. But I realized June starts on a Wednesday, which would be this day, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday starts over here. So these 3 boxes shouldn't get any color. They shouldn't be, because they're not part of the calendar. So it's good to check your calendar real quick before you actually get started putting down paint in your journal there. So, and who knows, I'll probably mess it up anyway. So I'm just going to kind of give you an idea of what I'm going to do here, and then I'll speed this up so you can kind of just see the process. So I'm going to start over here since I'm a lefty, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do all the blocks down in a row just to make it easier. So I'm using one color at a time. So as I match up what my first color is, which is that phthalo blue, I'm just going to put a little on my brush here, and then just kind of haphazardly, I want there to be some color moving around. I don't want it to be a perfect block, but I'm just using those lines to kind of keep me where I'm supposed to be here. So, and for each one, I'm just going to basically do the same thing, going down, making sure I get some color around there. And now this paper that I'm using is just actually scrapbook paper, so it's not taking the color great. I mean, it's doing all right, which is all I need it to do, but certainly this isn't, you know, paper that I would use because it's going to start to buckle it a little bit. The water will start to buckle it a little bit, but I'm okay with that for, you know, what I'm doing here. I like to try to add some different things to my bullet journal. And as you can see, this doesn't spread like maybe it would, or maybe you're used to, you know, seeing on different artists doing their work, because this is just a very lightweight scrapbook paper. Okay, so all of my Saturdays are done. So now I'm going to go back in and do my Fridays with the ultramarine. And this one is a little bit more purple, but I'm okay with that. I kind of wanted to have, you know, some different colors going on here. This is like a purpley blue. And I don't want it to be too dark. So once I load up my paintbrush, I'm just giving it a little bit of dab into the water to add a little bit more water, so I'm not ending up with a lot of pigment on the paper. Since this is my month overview, I want to be able to write in these blocks and see what I'm writing. So that's kind of why I'm keeping it kind of light, because these colors could be very darker if I didn't add some water to them. You can see this one's kind of blending into the other one, but I'm definitely okay with that. Because like I said, I didn't want this to be perfect. And as you can see, I didn't put water here. And I need to come back in quick because on this paper, it soaks it in pretty fast. So I don't have a lot of time. But now I have kind of a different edge around here. And actually, that's kind of interesting. So I'm going back to my phthalo blue over here. And maybe where I have some wetness still here, maybe I'm just going to add a little bit of some darker color just to add some interest into these a little bit. So when they dry, they'll kind of be a little bit more ombre, I guess is what I'm thinking. Okay, so now I'm done with my, this was the ultramarine. Now I'm going to the brilliant blue on here. And this one's kind of close to the other one, but like I said, I kind of wanted to do something monotone here. So you can see those are very similar colors, but they are different. And we're going to do the same thing, and probably I'll go back in to some of these as well and do kind of what I did before, was you know, pick up some color without too much water and just add that to the top or the bottom and give it a little extra fun there to have something. Ooh, I didn't add water to that one too. All right, and I'm just going to keep going down the row and have these all end up being colored in. Okay, I have waited for this to dry, and I'm probably going to wait even a little bit longer before I erase my pencil marks here. So in the meantime, what I did was I went ahead and drew in my title. So I drew June here, and then I did some water splashes because I thought the blue was kind of a, water theme here. So I kind of wanted my lettering to mimic that, what I was looking for. So these I tried to make look like splashes. So they're not fantastic, but I like them, and that's what matters for me right now. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take a black pen, and this is no fancy black pen, and I'm just going to outline the areas that that I've drawn right now. So I'm actually going to have some spaces to paint in. So I want to do this so that, because now I'm actually going to try to pretty much stay in the lines. I mean, it's definitely not going to be perfect. I'm not not a perfect person, but I want to at least have some guidelines for myself as I go to paint this in. So I'm just outlining everything that I kind of drew here, and any of the places that maybe I thought looked a little funny, I might try to fix up a little, like that. The top of the J there, I think, needs to kind of come over a little bit more or something like that to give it more of that water splash look that I was going for here. So I'm just going to finish up doing that, and then when that is good and dry, when this pen mark is good and dry, I'm going to start painting them in. And I'm definitely going to use some of the same blues. I just haven't totally decided if I'm going to use different blues on each letter, or maybe a couple blues in one letter. I don't know exactly what I want to do here yet, which is kind of the fun of this. All right, so I have my title all in there and ready to go. I'm just going to give that a minute to make sure that's good and dry, and then I'm going to start coloring it in. All right, my month overview is all done, and I went to go erase some of my lines, and you can see I smudged a little bit because my droplets weren't totally dry. So be sure you wait until everything is completely dry. I'm most of the time way too impatient to do that, and you can see what happens. So now I start writing the days of the week on the top of my calendar and realize that I started with Monday, which is wrong. Most of the time I start my weeks on Monday, but for my monthly overview, this calendar, I had them start on Sunday. So I went and grabbed some gesso and just painted over top of that little mistake. So I had to do 2 coats to totally cover it up, but it covered up just nicely. And when it dries, then I'll go back in and add Sunday, which is the correct day for this block. All right, now while I'm waiting for my gesso to dry, I am just writing in the rest of the days of the week on the top blocks of each row there. And I am trying to kind of write around some of the lettering that I had done. So I didn't write over top of it. I just decided to kind of go underneath. And you'll see when I get to Wednesday, which I go back to last, I kind of have to sort of do half letters here. But I'm not worried about it because I know that that's going to be Wednesday, since Tuesday and Thursday are on either side of it. And then after I was done that, I decided to go in and put the dates on the calendar, just little tiny dates right in the corners of each of those blocks, so that if I was looking in there for, to jot down a memory or to put in an appointment, I could very quickly find the correct day of the week there. So I'm just going to go in and finish that up, and then the month will be all ready to go. All right, I know I said at the beginning I was going to use kind of a monochrome look here with just blues, but as I was looking at it, I wanted to add something a little extra. So I went in and grabbed some red-orange watercolor and just did some splatters. So this is kind of opposite on the color wheel, and it's a nice contrast to the blues that I have everywhere. So I'm just really trying to add them in. I was tapping my paintbrush, but also kind of splattering the brushes there too. All right, after letting everything dry, I also went in and erased all of my pencil marks on all of the things that I had drawn. And my gesso is also dry up at the top there where I had written the wrong day. So I'm just going to go back in now and add in Sunday, which was the correct day to put over top of that block. All right, because I handmade this planner, I have 2 pages that are in here. I have kind of random pages all over the place, but I have a polka dotted page, and then I have a page that I created digitally that I'll probably use for like a to-do list or maybe meal planning or something like that. But I'm just going to leave them as they are because they're ready to go for whenever I'm ready to use them. And I will turn over to the next page to do what I was thinking next. So I wanted to do a habit tracker. And I don't normally do them, but I wanted to give it a try. So I kind of just penciled out 4 spots on this page that I thought I would use for my habit tracking. I just chose 4 different things that I wanted to use, and I'm creating a block once again just as a guideline for myself because I'm going to be using the watercolors again. So I'm going to go ahead and get my paintbrushes out again, and we're going to do another blue theme here on each of these blocks to start the habit tracker. All right, I decided to start with the lighter colors on the top and go darker as I went down in this row, a little bit different than I had done the monthly overview. And as I was going through, I thought it would be fun to just add some different colors into each of the blocks. So I just added just a touch of either another blue, and then I even went to a kind of a purpley color in some of the blocks, just to add a little bit of interest. So as I was doing this, I was kind of trying to learn what my paints would do and how they would look together. So that was kind of another thing I was trying to accomplish as I was creating just these solid blocks to make my habit tracker. All right, once again, I made sure that my paint was very dry, as dry as I could let it go before starting something new, and I went in to make some doodles that represented the habits that I wanted to track. So the first one you can see there, I am trying to draw a hiking boot because I want to be walking and being outside as much as possible this month. So I'm kind of representing all of that with a shoe. So whether I'm outside, taking a hike, or I'm just outside, maybe sitting in the backyard with my husband or something like that, I want to try to do that as much as I can. Now, this next doodle is a little book, and this is because I want to have more quiet time. So I'm trying to read more. I'm trying to be in my Bible more. I'm trying to spend some time praying and things like that. And so this will help remind me to do those kinds of things. So this habit I'm calling my quiet habit. So I'm just kind of making a little book there because I can see myself maybe doing some reading or something like that with this habit. Now I skipped one down below. I'm going to go back to that. The one that I'm drawing right now is a little bucket full of bubbles. And this is to represent my cleaning habit. So I want to try to be sure that I am remembering to vacuum up the dog hair or get the dust bunnies, out of the corners on a regular basis around my house. And so I thought this little pail was cute, and I would try to do that to remind me of my cleaning habit. And then the last one is the habit that I want to track is my garden. So I want to be sure that I'm out there as much as possible, trying to get the the weeds out of the garden, because boy, they come up faster than you can imagine, and taking care of all of the vegetables that I have planted. I do really love growing food that we eat in our house, and I give away to friends and neighbors and things like that. And so I want to be sure I'm taking care of that garden. All right, the next thing for a habit tracker is to have the days of the month so that I can track those habits. And I was going to stamp a calendar in here, but I decided to use circles instead so that I could either color them in or just put a little X mark in there or something like that. So you can see I'm going back to check my month to see how many days are in the first week and how many days are in the last week. So I started with the middle weeks, creating 7 circles for 3 rows. So those were my full weeks of June. And then the last week of June only goes until I think it's Thursday. So I put 5 circles at the bottom and then 4 circles at the top, since the month starts on a Wednesday. So for each of the bands there, each of my habits, I created the same little calendar throughout. And then for my title, I just decided to keep it simple and write the word habit in cursive. I'm not a superb letterer, but I do enjoy writing. And so after I had written it in cursive, I just went back over the top and the sides to add a little emphasis on those. And I did end up kind of going over everything, but I made the lines on the top and the sides a little bit thicker to kind of make it look like a faux calligraphy there. And then after I finished that, I just went back and added a couple of little star dashes. So I just kind of put dashes in a circle to make kind of little sparkles or stars around the top of the title as well. And then, of course, it was a lot of blue, so I went back in with some more of that orangey red color and added some splatters right to the page just to have that little pop of color in there. All right, now while that dries, we're going to start on my gratitude page. And instead of putting the title at the top of the page, which I normally might do, I decided to just create like a blob of watercolor right in the center of the page where I would kind of put my title so that I knew that, this was a gratitude page. So I'm just using, instead of blue this time, I decided to go with the orange as a contrast to that blue page to the left there. And I'm just creating a nice big blob of paint there to put my title in. And then to create my title, I was just going to use some words. So I'm first just trying to make sure everything is dry. Since I'm not patient, I didn't want my pen to run if it wasn't dry. So I just decided to use a bunch of words in this blob, things that reminded me of being grateful. So I made grateful the biggest, and then I used just some other words around just to add some interest. So I put things like Thanksgiving and appreciation and salute and recall and memory and welcome, and just words that reminded me of what I was trying to do when I fill out a gratitude page. So it's about being thankful for things. It's about remembering those things. It's about welcoming those things into my life. And so those are the words that I chose to kind of write all around on this little title blob in the middle of the page. And then what I plan to do when I'm actually writing my gratitude is to write on the white space all around this center piece here. So it'll be ready to go once we get all of the words in here. And then, of course, I will be adding a little more splatter, you'll see in a minute as well. I decided to use blue splatter instead of the orange splatter this time, just to create kind of that contrast there. All right, I think June is started and ready to go. So I've created a monthly overview page here, kind of with a blue water theme. And I like that because it'll be time to go in the pool, maybe go to the beach or in a lake or something like that, swimming. June makes me think of warmer weather and getting in the water. So I like the theme here. I like the blues across, and I'll see how this monthly overview page works for me. Like I said, this is sort of not standard for me, but I do like the way this turned out, and we'll see how I like it in the future. And then, as I mentioned, I'm going to leave these pages go. I'll probably use them for my daily log or for lists and different things like that. And then I did my habit tracker, and I really like this, the way this turned out as well. I wanted to kind of keep the blue theme going, so that's why I kind of did these blocks. I did kind of tie in some other colors just because I thought it was fun. And I do like the orange splatter as a contrast color, just to add a little pop of something else in here. So my habits are all ready to go for when the month starts. And then I also did my gratitude page. So I have, I wanted to just kind of do my title right in the middle. I added some more splatters as the kind of contrast that I had done over here. And then I'll just write my gratitude right around the title page and hopefully have a nice looking sort of wordy page when I'm done with this nice title in the middle. And there you have it, friends. I hope you enjoyed this video of a plan with me for June of 2022. If you like this video, I hope that you'll give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.